I know many of you might hate me for this video, but please watch with an open mind. Junhi will not survive until the end of Squid Game Season 3. And here's why. Her entire character arc is centered around her pregnancy. That's it. She lacks nuance, depth, and most importantly, the skills needed to survive a competition as brutal as Squid Game. So far, she's only made it this far because of Gi-hun's team, and more specifically, because of Myung-gi. If player 333 didn't care so much about her and constantly protect her, she wouldn't have survived the mingle. In fact, there's a small but very telling detail in the six-legged race. When Myung-gi asked Jun-hee to team up and she refused, MG Coin didn't go join another team right away. He waited until Junhi found someone to pair with before finding a team for himself. Now, the main arguments people make for why Junhi won't die are that it's taboo in Korean dramas to kill pregnant women and that the frontman seems to care about her. Personally, I don't buy either of these arguments. I don't think Hwang Dong-hyuk is afraid to break taboos. In fact, I believe he leans into them. If he were trying to play it safe, Squid Game wouldn't exist in the first place. From the beginning, this series has challenged norms and shone a light on real social issues, both in Korea and around the world. Every one of Hwang Dong-hyuk's works carries a strong message, and Squid Game is no exception. A great example is how the show addresses police inaction. Despite 455 people disappearing from Seoul every year to play the game, the authorities do absolutely nothing. Here's a direct quote from Hwang Dong-hyuk on that topic. I think the issue with police officers is not just an issue in Korea. I see it on the global news that the police force can be very late in acting on things. There are more victims, or a situation gets worse because of them not acting fast enough. This was an issue that I wanted to raise. So, if you think he wouldn't use Jun-hee's character, a pregnant woman, to highlight serious problems like maternal health, abortion, or how society treats women under pressure, I think you're underestimating him. So no, I don't think Hwang Dong-hyuk would have a problem showing the death of a pregnant woman on screen. If he were concerned with avoiding controversial topics or respecting taboos, then Squid Game wouldn't include a transgender player like Hyunju in the first place. I actually believe there's a strong chance he will use Jun-hee's story to raise awareness about the struggles faced by single pregnant women, especially in a harsh, unforgiving environment like this one. Now let's talk about this idea that the frontman, In-ho, has a soft spot for Junhi. I see this theory pop up all the time, and frankly, I don't understand it. Just because he gave her milk doesn't mean he cares about her. Let's be real. In-ho used Junhi as a tool, a pawn to gain Gi-hun's trust. He deliberately played on Gi-hun's empathy and morality by appearing as a kind, compassionate player. But the goal was never to protect Junhi. It was to manipulate Gi-hun, and it worked. He painted himself as a good, trustworthy person, only to shatter that illusion later when he revealed himself as the front man. And here's the biggest contradiction. If In-ho truly cared about Junhi or her baby, why would he allow her into the game at all? The frontman has access to detailed files on every single player. He knew she was pregnant. If he had any kind of moral boundary, there would be a strict rule against bringing pregnant women into the competition. But there isn't, because he doesn't care. To him, Junhi is just another number. The idea that the milk gesture shows he cares is flawed. He was role-playing. During the game, In-ho wasn't acting as the frontman. He was pretending to be Oh Young-il. His entire persona was carefully crafted to mimic Gi-hun's behavior from Season 1, which was all about helping others and protecting the vulnerable. If it hadn't been Junhi, In-ho would have found someone else to give his milk to, just to complete the illusion and strengthen Gi-hun's trust in him. Saying the frontman cares about Junhi is like saying he cared about Jung-bae. Remember that during the last round of the mingle game, In-ho immediately partnered with Jung-bae and rushed toward a safe room. When he found it already occupied, he killed another player to ensure it would be just the two of them inside. On the surface, that might look like he saved Jung-bae's life, but we later saw the truth. In-ho only kept Jung-bae alive so he could kill him later, right in front of Gi-hun. It was all part of the psychological warfare. The same thing could happen with Jun-hee. What better way to completely break someone's spirit than to kill the people they care about the most, especially someone as innocent and vulnerable as a pregnant woman? That's exactly the kind of gut punch twist Squid Game is known for. Returning to my main point, there is just no realistic way Junhi would survive Squid Game on her own. Her only shot at making it to the end would be through a vote, not by actually winning the games, but even that seems unlikely now. In the teaser, we see guards entering the dorms carrying boxes that look identical to the ones the 3 finalists received in Season 1 before the final game. That detail confirms we're getting a final game this season too. And that means a winner will be chosen the old-fashioned way, through survival. Here's the problem. Whenever a movie or show features a pregnant woman, the unspoken rule is that she has to survive. That life conquers death cliché. A baby being born in the midst of all the bloodshed, symbolizing hope and redemption. But Squid Game was never about offering comfort or redemption. It's about confronting harsh realities. Dong-hyuk has already warned us that this will be the darkest season yet. And honestly, what could be darker than killing the one character everyone expects to survive? As for Junhi herself, I just don't understand the hype. She has no standout traits, no real depth. Yes, she's good at Dokji, and that's it. Every single thing she does is an extension of her pregnancy. Her entire identity in Season 2 boils down to a pregnant orphan girl who fell in love with a YouTuber and decided to keep the baby. That's her whole arc. Nothing about her stands out beyond that surface level narrative. Compare that to a character like Hyunju, Player 120, a trans woman whose identity could have easily been reduced to a single defining trait, but wasn't. Hyunju was complex, well-written, and layered. She didn't fall into the trap of being a token character. Her leadership skills, her tactical mind, her knowledge of firearms. She was portrayed as a fully formed person, not just a representative of her identity. And her bond with Young-mei, it felt genuine and nuanced, not performative. Can we say the same about Junhi? Not even close. We still have 3 more games ahead, and they're likely to be even more physically demanding. In her condition, I seriously doubt Junhi is capable of completing all of them. However, based on the teaser, we can confidently say that she does survive the tag game. In the final moments of the teaser, there's a shot of Junhi crying. And notably, she's no longer wearing her player jacket. This small wardrobe change tells us a lot. At the start of the tag game, she's clearly seen wearing her jacket. But in the crying scene, she's only wearing her undershirt. And the background doesn't match the maze-themed playground where the tag game takes place. Instead, we see a warm, orange-toned wall, suggesting a different location entirely, likely the next phase of the competition. This, combined with the missing jacket, is solid confirmation that she survives the 4th game. But even if she somehow makes it to the final game, do you really think she stands a chance? Let's say she faces off against Gi-hun. I highly doubt he would sacrifice himself just to let her live. Gi-hun may be willing to die to end the games for good, but not just to save a single life. We've already seen how far he was willing to go during the rebellion, risking dozens of players to bring down the system. In his mind, the bigger picture has always mattered more than saving just one person. And honestly, I don't even think player 333, Myung-gi, would sacrifice himself for Junhi either. I see Myung-gi as a Sang-woo type, clever, loyal to a point, but ultimately willing to do whatever it takes to survive. He may care about Junhi now, but in a one-on-one confrontation, when there's only one prize and one survivor, I think he would choose the prize money over her life. We saw how MG Coin is thinking about the money. When he proposed Junhi to leave together and combine the money they earn to pay off the debt and start investing in a new coin. Let's not forget, up until now, players haven't been told that only one winner will emerge. In theory, they've been playing games where everyone could survive, and the prize would be split equally. That's why Myung-gi has protected Jun-hee so far. He's operating under the belief that they can both walk away from this alive. But when that illusion breaks, when it's revealed that only one can win, I believe MG Coin would make the same cold calculation Song-woo once made. And if it came down to Junhi or him, he'd choose himself. As devastating as it would be, I truly believe that if the final came down to Junhi and Myung-gi, he'd be the one to survive, and she'd be the one to fall. The only detail that still haunts me is the sound of a baby crying at the end of the teaser. It's the classic Chekhov's gun. If you introduce a pregnant character at some point, that baby has to be born. Now, many of you already know my stance. I've always said Junhi giving birth in the middle of Squid Game would be absurd. But after seeing the teaser and taking all the new information into account, I'm starting to waver, just a little. Given the extreme psychological and physical stress she's under, a premature birth isn't out of the question. And if that happens, I still don't believe she or the baby would survive. Think about it. Would Squid Game organizers really have the medical infrastructure to support a premature infant? I highly doubt it. And even if they did, I don't think they'd care enough to intervene. That said, as twisted as the frontman and the VIPs are, there are rules. All the players chose to be there. The baby didn't. So maybe, if the child is born, they'd quietly remove it from the compound and place it in a nursery or orphanage, not out of compassion, but because it breaks the rules to punish someone who never agreed to play. Still, I remain convinced Junhi won't make it. If she does give birth, that'll be the end of her arc. Her entire character has been defined by this pregnancy, and if that story thread reaches its conclusion, there's really nothing left for her to contribute to the plot. That's why I'm 100% sure she won't survive Season 3. As for the baby, at best, a 50-50 chance. But if this season is truly going to be the darkest one yet, and Hwang Dong-hyuk has warned us that it will be, then we need to be ready for anything. But hey, that's just my take. What do you think? Will Junhi survive the games? Will the baby live? Or is Squid Game setting us up for a tragedy no one is ready for?